Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sneha and today I'm going to create 3 looks using one palette, and for today's video it's going to be the Natasha Denona Sunrise Palette. So if you'd like to see how I created this and 2 other looks, please continue watching. Just want to give you a disclaimer that for some of the looks I may have used, say, for example, 5 or 6 eyeshadows, which is not necessary to create a particular look, but I do want to show you how every shade from this palette applies on my eyes for each of these 3 looks. So that's the reason I've used so many shades. But for an everyday makeup look, you definitely don't need to apply so many shades for getting a particular look. Now for all 3 looks, I've gone ahead and primed my eyes with my NARS eye primer. And then first I'm going in with the shade Morning. That's a beautiful brow bone-like color for me. So I'm just going to run this in my crease and also take it all the way to my brow bone. Next I'm going in with this beautiful yellow-orange shade called Carnelian. I'm going to run this along the crease of my eye. And then just to blend out the edges, I'm going back in with Morning to diffuse out the edges between Carnelian and Morning. Next, I'm going in with the orange shade from the palette called Jasper. I'm going to apply that to the crease of my eye, but slightly below where we applied the yellow shade. So I'm just gradually building up the intensity of this color. And then to blend out the edges, I'm going back in with the brush we used with the shade Carnelian and just diffusing out the edges. Next, I'm going in with a smaller brush and into the shade Clove. And I'm going to apply that to the outer corner of my eye and also applying it to the outer edges of my crease, if that makes sense. And again, just creating a soft diffused look with the shades we've used prior to this. Then I'm going into the light shimmery shade called Agate from this palette. And I'm going to apply that to the inner half of my eyelid and also applying it to the inner corner of my eye. Then with that same brush, I'm going to apply the shade Dayspring right next to it. So meeting the agate shade with the Clove shade. And then I'm just going back in with the shade Clove to deepen up the outer corner and just to blend between Clove and Dayspring. Then I'm going to also run the same shade along my lower lash line, taking it halfway along. Then in the middle, I'm just applying the shade Dayspring. And then as a last touch, I'm just going back in with the brush I used the shade Morning with and just running it over the edges of the look. And then I'm finishing off the look with my MAC mascara for my bottom lashes and the Charlotte Tilbury mascara for my top lashes. And that's it for this look number 1. And for this look, I've paired it with the MAC matte lipstick in the shade Persistence. For the second look, I'm just running Morgan along the crease of my eye, taking it all the way towards my brow bone. Next, I'm going to lightly run the shade Citrine, which is the yellow shade from this palette. I'm going to apply it just to the edges of where we applied Morgan shade. So just going to peek through the peachy shade that we have on. Next, with a flat brush, I'm going to pack on the shade Phlox, which is a beautiful shimmery red toned eyeshadow. I'm going to pack it on the inner corner and the outer corner on my top and bottom lash line. And then with my finger, I'm going to take the shade Azalea and I'm going to pack it on the center of my eyelid. And because I noticed fallout with this particular eyeshadow, I did go in with a mixing medium on a brush and reapplied the shade on the center of my top and bottom lash line. And then I'm just going back and adding some more of the shade Morgan and blending it out towards the brow bone. And also applying a little bit more of the shade Citrine. Next, I'm just blending the edges of the shade Phlox with the crease shade and also along my lower lash line. And then just completing the look with the MAC mascara on my bottom lashes and the Charlotte Tilbury mascara on my top lashes. And that's it. That is look number 2 complete. And I've paired this look with the Pat McGrath Matte Trans Lipstick in the shade Flesh 3. So look number 3 is quite berry toned. So I'm going to first start with the shade Morgan, and I'm going to apply that as my transition shade. And then as my crease color, I'm just gradually going to build up the pink shade from this palette, which is called Glory. So adding more as I go along, and then also adding some to the outer corner of my eye. Just going to take a flat brush and apply the shade Awakening, which is a beautiful duochrome shade. It shifts from pink to like a lavender kind of a shade almost. I'm going to apply that to the inner half of my eyelid. And just flipping the brush, I'm going to use the shade Aster on the outer half of my eyelid. Then I'm running this beautiful shade called Poppy, which is like a burgundy shimmery shade, on my bottom lash line and connecting it to the outer corner and slightly into my crease. And here I'm adding the inner corner highlight, which is the shade Laurel. And just blending out the crease colors so that there's a smooth transition. And finishing it up with the Charlotte Tilbury mascara on my top lashes. And this is look number 3 complete. And for this particular look, I paired it with my NARS Power Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Somebody to Love. So I really hope you've enjoyed the 3 looks that I've created with this palette. I do plan to make a second video where I find dupes from within my collection for this palette and see if I can replicate some of these shades. And I think I'm going to put that up on my IGTV. So if you're not following me there, my Instagram handle will be right here. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!